live.
Hello, I'm Matt Bergman, and you are listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 273. I'm here tonight with Jared Schneiderman,
Hey, everybody.
Damon Hudak,
Hello, hello.
James Babb,
Hello.
and special guest Derrick J. Freeman.
Hi.
Hey, Derrick, dude, we're like so excited that you came on. I just think the world of you. I love your activism. Specifically, I was just blown away by Derrick J's victimless crime spree. And for people who don't know what that is, it's about an hour and a half long movie that Derrick J made. Just basically about him like breaking all these like stupid laws, victimless crimes, and just documenting like how he had to deal with it. And I just think it's a very powerful piece of activism.
Well, thank you. You're very kind. People can watch the video. It's free on YouTube, victimlesscrimespree.com.
It's like a mix of hilarity and horror, like all in one.
Yeah, it's also kind of a time capsule of the activism that was happening in New Hampshire, the Free State Project in, I would say 2011 to 2012. That whole year was a really serious year at Cop Block of copblock.org. I know you just had a Damo Freeman on 420. That was a terrific episode.
Thank you.
And he was really active at that time. And in fact, I think my first arrest was at the time when he was being arrested for filming Judge Burke. So he was just going through that story of how he was asking a judge some questions about it, wearing a hat in court. And I was handing out pamphlets downstairs, completely unrelated. I was handing out "Don't Take the Plea Deal" flyers. Some people may know about this concept where a lot of people are charged with like crimes, but they're not real crimes. It's things like jaywalking or something where you're not endangering anyone, you're not causing any victims, no one's being harmed, or public drinking, or
any sort of drug arrest,
party, like lots of things. Yeah, but people they never take those things to court. They usually just take a plea deal, which is where the government says, "Wow, Matt, you've been a bad boy, and you could go to jail for a year. So why don't you just do the right thing and plead guilty to this non-crime, and we'll just take $100 from you. We'll call it a day."
Save everybody a little bit of trouble. Yeah, just pay a little bit of money. We'll make it all go away. Yeah.
Yeah, but my theory was if more people took the tickets and their charges to trial, then it would sort of force the justice system to reflect on what they're doing and say, like, well, maybe we don't want to ticket all these people for these non-crimes because it
raises their cost. It raises their cost to prey on people, basically.
Yeah, it's just not worth the trouble.
Right. But it was a big mistake. It's the wrong way to go, in my opinion now.
Okay.
In retrospect. Yeah, because it's focusing on other people. It's trying to make other people do something. And that's really, as libertarians, I think we should be focusing on ourselves and what we can do as individuals to empower ourselves and do the right thing. I have no control over other people and the decisions they make. And it's a fruitless effort. And it gave me a lot of anger and sadness because here I am saying, like, well, I'm doing this. I'm throwing myself against the wall. I'm getting hurt. And no one else is joining in. If other people would just do it, we just need a few more people to do it. But no, they're not there. They're not there. They're not going to be there.
I've always thought a better message would be consider not taking the plea, consider it. And what I also want to do is if somebody's not taking the plea, maybe we can back them up with some jury nullification pamphleting outside. If I hear about somebody that's going to go that route, then maybe we can support them. But having taken a plea myself, I've never been in a position where I could tell anyone to take a plea. Everyone I know that's taken a plea really didn't have any choice. It was a mathematical calculation, and when you're gambling on years of your life in a cage, it's extremely risky.
So
You know.
what's supposed to happen if a person who's being interviewed on this show gets a work call at this time? Because I just had 2 calls. It seems like it might be an emergency. I think I have to go take it.
No,
Can I
yeah.
come
I mean,
back?
if you have to take it, you can just
course.
come back, man. I mean, we understand,
We'll
dude.
talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
you in the meantime, if that's okay.
Okay, here's what
Talk a
I'll
little
do.
trash.
As
Well, wait,
a
are you an essential employee? We gotta see if it's really important. How essential are you there, Derrick?
Nah, seriously, take the call, dude. Take the
well,
call.
here's what I'll do. I'll put on victimless crime spree.
Okay.
Sweet.
Sounds good. All right. Well, do
So,
we
yeah.
want to? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Derrick, he was mentioning that period in Keene of the activism that we were discussing with the Damo the other day. That was a pretty exciting time, I have to say. Those guys were inspiring people all over the country with the stuff in the victimless crime spree is so good because I mean, some of it's silly, it's like it's taunting them to arrest you, smoking pot in front of them, and then just treating them correctly. Like if a stranger like was going to get in your face because you were smoking weed in the park, like that wouldn't be acceptable. So just the way he approaches these situations with sort of some grace and humor, I think is very effective. So
Yeah, like I thought of it as powerful activism. I think it's the kind of movie you should probably show your grandparents, But I mean, seriously, because I mean, like he's treated like just horrible by agents of the state for doing, things that shouldn't require any violence,
Looks like he's back.
dude, put
with
it
us.
back on in your background, Derrick. That's awesome.
Oh, you
Just let
prefer that as prefer the movie?
Yeah, if that's
should
okay,
play that,
just
yeah.
go for it.
I love
Because,
the Red Rider though.
Huh?
What's that?
I said I love the Red Rider.
Thank you. You recognize it. Well done,
Yeah, man.
man.
Yeah, dude.
Is that the BB gun?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the I'll shoot your eye out gun.
Yeah. So this is a scene from the. I think it's an interview from the 50s on television with Aldous Huxley, author
Some
of
may
Brave
be
New World.
listening to audio only, so they won't have the benefit of the video. But
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah,
true.
that's
there's
how
a-
most people get the podcast.
Right.
They
There's a
download it.
video. His movie is playing behind him right now.
Yeah.
For our listeners.
What a great expression. Someone just said, was it you, Jared? Agents of the state? Or was that Matt?
I think that was either Matt or James. It wasn't me though.
I really
Yeah,
like
that was Matt. Yeah. Thanks, man. Like I'm a little blazed. So I was like, was that me? it was me. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we were talking about focusing on other people versus focusing on ourselves, because Ademo was arrested while he was asking the judge some questions. I was there handing out pamphlets for Don't Take the Plea Deal, and then I was up there going upstairs after he got arrested. I was asking the bailiff what happened, and he said to turn the camera off, and I was like, well, I can't do that. And so he arrested me there, and I don't know. I mean, it wasn't even a crime. It's a very silly thing. I was arrested a bunch of times.
when was
things
the
like
one
that.
where you're on a bicycle? Because to me, that was the most hilarious moment where
I think
like
I
some
saw that.
fat
Didn't he get
cop is
tackled?
running after you on a bike, and you're just like, get away from me.
Right. Yeah. Well, cutting to the chase. That's the chase scene in Victimless Crime Spree. And
Chase scene, right?
yeah, I am riding a bike home from the grocery store, and a cop, Fenton P. Moore Jr. is his name. He saw me, and he had just arrested a friend of mine just minutes before. He should have been off the clock. He was in overtime. So he was just like having a day. And I didn't know all this while I was just riding my bike, but a cop car comes over and it's got its lights on. It's trying to pull me over on my bike, and I'm like, "What? This is not making sense." So I was like, "I want to stay away from these people." My history with them is that they treat me pretty badly and they're violent, and so I wanted to get to safety and get to my friends. I was about 2 blocks from my house, so I was just riding home, and he parked his car like up ahead and jammed his baton into my spokes, and I went forward on my bike, fell onto the
I forgot.
lawn of my neighbor's yard. And by that time, my friends who lived in the Keene Activism Center had heard the sirens. They came out with video cameras. I mean, cop block was in full swing at this time, so it was really fortuitous that they were there to capture that on video. Otherwise, there would be almost none. I had a wearable camera at that time, but I mean, the technology in 2011, 2012 for wearable cameras, it was not the best.
Well, that's part of the horror part of the film. Like, it's, the hilarity and the horror of, really their violence is on display. That sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty naked, but it's really great to be surrounded by the good people. It's so important to surround yourself with good people, right? Because if this had just happened and I was alone, I could be in jail today. Who knows? It could have been really bad. I was facing up to 9 years by the end of the crime spree. So,
Wow.
And
this is all
that would have
from
been
just like petty crimes, just like non-violent petty crimes, right?
Of course, yeah. I had.
Were drug offenses among them?
Possession of 0.1 grams of marijuana was one of them. Just possession.
Yeah.
Which is different from use in a legal sense. I was in a park at a 420 rally. There were a lot of people around. This is a common occurrence in Keene, New Hampshire.
That's like a cops special, bad boy, 0.1 gram.
It's funny that they measured it out.
Take the pics.
It's funny, in the citation, they actually measured it out. It was interesting to see. The cop, we know each other. We have a history. In Keene, it's a small town, and with these activists, they've known about these guys for years. So I knew Jason Short, who sat down next to me, and he was like, "I see the bowl in your hand. Like, I know what you're about to do." So, and I said, "Do you mind if I smoke?" And he said,
"Because you're a polite person."
Well, yeah, because that's
courteous.
what you would ask. Like,
right.
if someone's next to you, whether they're wearing a costume or not, it's just nice to ask.
That's how two normal humans interact with each other.
Right. But then I forgot, the important fact is that he is willing to do violence against me up to and including to the point of death if I were to resist. So anyway, yeah, he arrested me. And actually, he had 2 of his goons arrest me. I got the Victimless Crime Spree movie here.
Now, we can still purchase that DVD. What about, is there a download we can buy, or
sure,
how does that work?
Victimlesscrimespree.com. You can just download the whole thing for free. There's various different versions, behind the scenes footage. There's director's cut interviews with the producer Ian Freeman and the editor Bo Davis. So there's a ton of content. If you want to dive in, the DVD is really special because it's actually got like 7+ hours of extra footage. Seriously, of all the videos that made up the movie, and all the other activism that was going on in Keene.
I didn't realize there was that much material included.
We've filled every square inch of this DVD with as much content as we could deliver. I think it's $20 online.
So, Derrick, you're actually still living in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah, I live in a town called Portsmouth, which is on the seacoast region of New Hampshire, which is the best part.
How far is that away from Keene?
On the complete other side. So,
but New Hampshire's only like 50 miles wide, so
it's not. Yeah, it's a 2-hour drive.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like some parts of the world that would be like neighbors, Wow.
Now, like in New Hampshire nowadays, because you were talking about like the heyday of activism in New Hampshire, is there still Robin Hooding going on?
No, there was a really professional. That's a great question. Robin Hooding, for those who don't know, is where people who called themselves Robin Hooders would go and bring nickels around the streets and follow the parking meter person and like get right up ahead of them as they're walking along the route, and just plug each meter that's missing some time with a nickel, and that's enough time that the meter person can't give them a ticket. And it saved, we estimated tens of thousands of dollars in tickets in the span of a year.
Wow.
And that was about $40,000 worth. And that happens to be about the amount that one of these meter maids is paid salary for the year. So it really cost them an entire job, and they did lay off one person. He quit. They couldn't replace him. So
That's awesome.
you know, it seems
did they
so
quit
hopeless.
because of the loss of revenue, or did they quit due to just the public shaming and the horrible working conditions?
So it was because of the shaming. The police or the meter maid, it was a male meter maid. He was in Iraq, and he was interviewed by the Colbert Report about this Robin Hooding event and the Free Keeners. And he was asked, you know, you were in Iraq and you've been a meter maid in Keene, which one was worse? And he answered that being a meter maid in Keene was actually worse than being in Iraq.
Wow.
In the army.
Wow.
So it was really bad for him.
Yeah, because right in Iraq he could just kick doors in, nobody cared. You know, now he has to dance around and put up with bullshit from these Robin Hooders, right? And because in the past he could just shoot you. You know.
Yeah, well, it's true. His name is
now
Alan.
they're like, now I have to, you know, we got rules and stuff.
Yeah. Well, his name is Alan, and if anyone wants to look up the Free Keene Squad, it's a really funny video produced by the Colbert Report that makes fun of the Free Keeners. Like, we're definitely the butt of the joke.
Of course.
Is that the one with Cantwell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh God.
He looked like an ass.
The Robin Hooding is really cool. Now it got professional. It started out as just this one woman who was like, this is a cool idea. I think I've got time, walk around downtown. This is a nice day and some activism I can do, save people in the moment. Like, you're making a real difference because these are people who are about to be attacked by the state. They're about to be threatened. It might be a small, you know, $15 ticket. I think even it's $5 in Keene for a parking ticket. It's really nothing. But just the threat that they would take your car if you don't pay, you know, it's always an escalation. And it's important for people to remember that it's not just a $5 and you're done, because that's what happens if you comply. But what happens if you don't comply? If you really just say no, you're not really harming anyone, but they are willing to harm you. They're going to take your property. They're going to take your car. If you try and get it back, they're going to hurt you.
It's unpleasant, and it's not really welcoming to people, to maybe visitors to the town that have come to shop. It's just an unpleasant experience that really nobody wants to have. But if I was a shopper in Keene, and I probably wouldn't even know, but I think maybe there were cards that they would leave as well to just let people know what they were doing. If I saw that somebody had saved me from a ticket in a town I was visiting or a neighborhood I went to shop in, I'd be like, wow, that's pretty solid. I want to shop here more often. To me, that is just wonderful community relations.
It was great. You know, a guy named James Cleveland, terrific activist who professionalized the effort. He said, you know, I think we've got something here. And he made those calling cards that had a picture of the Fox Robin Hood from the Disney movie. And it looked really cute and said, you've been saved by one of Robin Hood's merry men.
Yeah.
From the, you know, sheriff of Nottingham, whatever. And my
understanding is they are loved and adored for this work by the people that they have helped, which are countless.
It still resonates today, the activism of the Robin Hooding. I mean, you're asking about it still. And also downtown in Portsmouth, which is, you know, complete other side of the state. I've asked about Robin Hooding, and those the meter maid knew exactly what I was talking about. So the word travels.
So like, how did it come to a stop? Did people just like stop Robin Hooding, or did the state like say, hey guys, if you do this, we're gonna crack down the law on you?
So
how
it was
mad
one
did
guy.
they get? Because we haven't even discussed the town's response. Like,
oh my God,
I mean, like, let's just remember that what you're really doing is preventing crimes from happening. You're paying the meter, which is supposedly what they want, is money in the meter for people parking, and you're walking around making sure everybody's paid up.
Yeah,
okay,
it's presumably what they want, but really what they want.
But yet somehow it's not what they want, because you're denying them the opportunity to penalize people through this tax, which basically just goes into paying the salary of somebody to go around and do this, like as a self-generating, self-propagating what?
It's a Paul Krugman wet dream.
You know, if we just don't do their job, you don't actually need the money. So what are you really doing here? Like,
well, what James did, James Cleveland, that is he put his own money out to buy these calling cards to say, here This is our address if you want to support what we're doing. And people would come and drop off rolls of nickels. And so this actually became a profitable venture where the people who were Robin Hooding were able to get paid full time for walking around on the streets, the same as the meter maid, all on donations. That the townspeople and people from neighboring areas who supported the effort would just give money to PayPal, and
Wow.
it was a really good form of activism. And I think the only reason that it stopped was because James Cleveland went away, and sometimes it takes a person to head up an effort and organize. He was the one taking the money in and then paying the people and providing the nickels and just making sure that everything runs smoothly. So that doesn't continue anymore.
Well, other people can pick it up at any time. They've laid
Sure.
out the blueprint. Philly, unfortunately, is all kiosks, and that seems to be the trend. It's more difficult to do that. However, in Ardmore, Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
they actually have a button that gives you like your first 10 minutes is free.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
you just, all you have to do is walk by, and if you see one red, you just press the button. Like, it's the easiest.
That's great.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody else, but I'm always like looking, just, if I see one that's red, because they do come around and ticket there. So
It's one of the easiest forms of activism you can do, and it's universally beloved. Anyone, right or left or anything else, is going to say, good on you. Thanks for saving someone from a ticket, because everyone's been there. We don't like it. And we know it's pointless. It's stupid, but it's too small a deal to make a big issue of. So it continues until the state dies.
So like nowadays, no, don't you have like you have like a cryptocurrency store going, correct?
wait, hold on a second. We didn't
Oh,
you
sorry.
didn't mention what they did in response to this, because
This is a Demo's video, by the way. This is
Oh.
a Demo being arrested.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, what did they do in response? Well,
there was a lawsuit, and they appealed it, and they kept fighting, and they spent like how much, $100,000 or more trying to stop the Robin Hooders. They spent a huge effort.
They hired a private investigator, one of the former police in Keene, to walk around incognito and film the Robin Hooders. So that was at their expense. I think he was like $50 an hour or something. Then, so he's doing that, and he doesn't get any useful footage, right? Like, all the footage he gets that they show in court is just people being friendly and feeding meters and not harming anyone. So it was really stupid. So then they hired a super attorney. Like, they didn't use the city attorney. They hired a private law firm that they brought in the big guns, and that was at an expense of over $100,000. And they charged 7 of them, not with a criminal offense, but a civil offense. So if there were actually a crime, they could have just said, oh, you're harassing people. That's a crime. You're being charged with harassment.
Right.
But they didn't do that.
That would be a crime. But no,
Right.
They weren't doing any of that.
Yeah. So there were 7 or 8 of them who were, known as the Robin Hooders. Fortunately, I didn't get wrapped up in that one. So,
but then the activists won, right? But then the city didn't stop there. The city could have been like, oh shucks, but no, they kept going, right?
Yeah, they
appealed.
They appealed, yeah, and they lost again. And that was pretty embarrassing. I think it was they first took it, I guess. I don't know the exact details, but it was something like that. They appealed, they lost, and it was very expensive and embarrassing. And then they really lost in the court of public opinion. I mean, because all of this is happening, the townspeople are reading the news in the paper like, you mean you're taking those Robin Hooders, the guys who save us from tickets, you're taking them to court, like, and you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of our money to do it? Like, stop. And you lost, and you did it again?
They just can't stand a challenge to their authority. It wasn't the money. It wasn't the parking. It wasn't anything to them except, we're in charge here. We decide that, like, we tell them what they do, and when somebody kind of like challenged that relationship, they're like, they reacted defensively.
Yeah. So
good for everybody involved there.
I occasionally hear from Ian that he, went around with some nickels and plugged some meters, just on a walk. But
That's
nothing of
awesome.
the organized level that it used to be. It was a full-time gig. For every hour that the meters maids were on, there was someone following them and making sure that no tickets got written. And that went on for months.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Is there still, I remember this is back in like, I think you were saying around 2012-ish, 2011, around there. Is there, in Keene specifically, there was a lot of that activism kind of
A
centered
ton.
around, is Keene still sort of like a center for that sort of thing, or is it, has it moved on? I haven't been keeping up with the Free State Project for a while.
It is. Keene is like a college. You know, there's people who go in for a period of time, you do your activism, and then you graduate out and you leave.
Okay, so you're a graduate now. You're a graduate of the Keene School of Activism, is that right?
He's an alumni, yeah, or professor emeritus, or what, I forget what it would be.
Something like that. But yeah, activism very much still continues in Keene, and it's the subject of hot contention among Free State Project participants because of its extreme nature. They're so consistently extreme with their principled stances on even the smallest things that it drives a lot of libertarians crazy who just want a normal libertarian life. Like, I'm just going to move to New Hampshire and vote Republican. You know, that's my activism. I think
stop
that's
making
lame.
us look crazy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they did that every night. They're having nightcaps in Keene where they're illegally congregating more than 10 people and smoking pot and drinking beer and having parties out in the central square, which you can see behind me. You know, just for fun and to just make sure that the agents of the state know people aren't just going to blindly obey every order. You know, if you tell them they're not allowed to do something, there is going to be a group of people who says, "Oh, really? Watch me." So I'm glad there are people out there who are like that, but that's not me anymore.
Yeah.
It can be tiring and risky and exhausting over a long period.
I think it's also not very effective.
Well, it depends on what the goal is. I mean, I think there's like the victimless crime spree and all that stuff. You know, really, it's part of, it's documenting history. It's showing people that you can say no. It's and I really value that. But I'm also really intrigued by what's come after that, sort of the crypto agorism that's become big in Keene and also in Portsmouth. And to me, I feel that really that's where you've come into your stride, is with what you've accomplished in Portsmouth.
Yeah. So I am the president of a software company now, and we make an app that makes it easy to accept Bitcoin. And so a lot of businesses.
That's the AnyPay app, right?
Yes,
so,
that's AnyPay.
Which I've seen it in use in Portsmouth. Can you give us an update on you got a lot of businesses to accept crypto in Portsmouth, and how has that been going? Is that continuing? Are they still accepting crypto? What's the status down there?
Yeah, so it's really cool. AnyPay believes in making payments magic. And so it's got to be better than what currently exists. It can't just be like, let's replace one with another. And okay, we're going to use this magic internet money instead of, magic printer money. So now that the businesses have this social distancing and they're closed down or they have to do orders, it used to be that you would scan a QR code. Well, now it's possible, thanks to AnyPay, to pay with Bitcoin from a distance, just using your phone. So you don't need to bother the register person. You could just pay and they get the payment right away. It's direct, right from the customer to the merchant. So it's non-custodial.
You mean for like an online transaction?
Yeah, or just say I want some broccoli from the health food store down the street.
Okay.
I can call and place my order, say I want some broccoli. Hey, I'm going to pick it up, or will you deliver it here? And then I can open up my phone. It will geolocate whether I'm outside or in the town. I can just choose that store, type in how much I owe, send payment, and they receive it.
So you're not even in person. So
doesn't have to be, no.
Okay. But it could be really convenient for curbside pickup, just for a no contact scanning QR codes, right?
For curbside pickup, it's great. But really what I love is, I don't know if you guys are the same way, but at a restaurant, when I'm finished my meal, I've had my drinks, I'm not ready to order something else, I just want to go. Sometimes you get held hostage by the server who's like, I'll come around to you when I feel like it. And you're like waiting around. Okay, can we go now? Like, I hate being held hostage. I just want to slap my money on the table and get out of there.
Yep.
So with cash, it's really easy. You just lay it on the table and walk out. It should be like that with digital cash. And now it is, because with AnyPay, you can just make your payment. Say you're at Murphy's Tap Room, type in how much you owe plus a tip, send it, and walk away. And they've got it in their register already. So, and they get notification that they've been paid, get an email, text message, whatever you want.
Right. And, because for so long we were trying to get merchants to accept crypto, but it wasn't very easy. Right. And that burden, at a even just say a bar, if you want a bar to accept crypto, you got to train everybody, all the staff, you need to have the accounting worked out, you need to have the back end, the waiters, like everybody has to be on board. So to make a change and implement a new thing, it's got to be simple and quick and easily, what I like about AnyPay is, the screen flashes green, like you're done,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, the merchant, boom, sees it. The spender, we all see it. Boom. It's like quick.
It's very easy. And
how many different currencies does it support now?
Fewer than ever. Actually, we've removed some because they're useless, but we'll add some back. It's just,
okay.
We respond to customer demand, so whatever people want to use.
What are people using now?
The most common coin on AnyPay is Dash by far.
Okay.
And it has been that way since the beginning. It was the first coin that AnyPay supported, because BitPay was already around supporting BTC, and we needed another option because BTC was pretty broken. I don't know. Do you guys use Bitcoin at all? Do you have any experience?
It's very difficult. I've had very few opportunities to.
Just a hodler.
Yeah. So this is the guy, he's arresting me. So the cop, it's like, he doesn't want to do the dirty work. He tells those ladies to go arrest me. Anyway, the coolest thing about AnyPay right now, the thing I'm jazzed about is what we call grab and go. It's where I go to this juice place and they've got juices in the fridge, and they've always got a line out the door, which sucks because you want a juice, it's right there, you grab it, and now you got to wait in a line for 10 minutes. Like, give me a break. I just want to go and walk away. So they've got QR codes next to the juices. And now standard QR codes with Bitcoin, they have an amount pre-filled in. So as Bitcoin's price goes up and down, you might be paying $12 for a juice. You might be paying $5.
Oh, right. You couldn't put up a QR code representing a Federal Reserve note value, right? It would have to be a specific Bitcoin value. So.
Right. Or you would have to trust, if it was a blank QR code, that the customer was going to pay you a full $10 and not 1 cent.
And get it right every time and not screw it up,
right.
know,
So with grab and go, you scan a QR code. It doesn't matter which coin you want to pay with. It doesn't matter which wallet you've got. You scan this QR code. It brings up the item that you're buying, the amount that it costs in dollars. You swipe to pay, and you walk out the door. The register, they get a notification that they've just sold a green juice, and they could just add it right into their register, and it all integrates with Square. So any item that you have in your Square point of sale, you can put a Bitcoin Cash QR code for.
Right on.
Yeah, it's super easy, and the cashiers love it. Not that I don't want to. I want more human interactions. I don't want to be like paper or plastic. Do you want fries with that? How are you doing? How's your life? Are you listening to good music? What's going on? Like, have you been to any good parties? Like, that's the conversation I want to have with people, not like, oh, that'll be $8.50. That
Right.
robots can
Making
do.
change and all that mundane stuff that
Yeah. So I originally was afraid that cashiers were going to be like, oh no, my job is going away. But the cashiers, they love grab and go because first of all, they don't want a big line of people to ring out. And second, they just get a ding notification. We've been paid. They're like, that's so cool. You
right,
didn't even have to
you're
come up.
allowing them to service more customers. Basically, you're not taking them out of the equation. You're just multiplying their power,
Right.
their ability to serve and provide better service for their clients, which means more money for them, more convenience for customers. You know,
Yeah. The
good
owner
job.
loves it. I mean, because the money goes direct from the customer to his wallet. So that's the other cool thing with like other kind of payments. You have to wait, or if you use Stripe, the money goes into a Stripe account and then you got to pull it out into your bank account. But with AnyPay, if you're a business owner and you're accepting Bitcoin, cha-ching, 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 every customer.
Do you find the
right into your
business
pocket.
owners are converting to fiat and paying their bills right away, or are most like, yeah, I think I'll hang on to this, and developing their own crypto reserves, or possibly paying employees with crypto or their vendors? I'd like to see if there's a next level, like spilling over from that.
Well, there's no way to know for sure what merchants are doing with the coins once they receive them. But just from our interactions, it seems like about 90% of the merchants who use AnyPay actually keep the coins and use them to either pay employees or buy marketing materials. One yoga studio in my town went to overstock.com and refurnished their entire studio using the Bitcoin that they got from customers. And that's the loop that I want to see, where we're actually using it as money. They're getting customers paying them, then they turn around and use it as money. That's
right. If everybody's busy converting back to dollars, it's just another kind of PayPal at that point, right? So
why do that?
Well, you might have to. Like, I mean, if you're a business and you're like, well, I got to pay my, I got to pay my Cisco frozen food bill, and they don't accept crypto, you're going to be converting, right? Or my employees don't want it. But I'd like to see eventually, as people get more accustomed to it, that becomes easier and easier, because, I mean, that's the community I do want to see grow as well. So, wait, is that Burke behind you on the screen right now?
Yeah, there he is.
That's the judge who hates hats, and Ian kind of treats him with half respect, I think. But I always thought this guy's like a total monster. But I've never had any direct interaction with him. I mean, what would you say about him?
I would say that he is not a bad guy. He's a normal human being. But in that position of power, in that courtroom, he can do some really evil stuff. And there's that expression that power corrupts. And I'd like to think, that I'm so moral that I'd be exempt from that, but I don't know. I think that it's just something that we have to be cognizant of and stay away from, putting ourselves into position of power over other people in that way.
But wasn't he the one that lied about and sent Ademo to jail, and because he made up a story about threatening him in the stairwell? Like,
yeah.
How do you be like, he's a nice guy, but he frames people and sends them to jail when he gets his feelings hurt? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe it's projection. I think everyone's nice.
Maybe you have a ability to see the best in people.
I'd like to. I think you get to wear whatever kind of glasses you want in this life, and I choose rosy colored. It's just more fun.
Right on.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. Yeah.
So
what's going on currently?
Let's see. I've took some notes. Let me see. Let me make sure I hit all my good points. Hey, before we went on the air, you guys mentioned that you had met at PorkFest X, which was 2013. Man, that was awesome. 2013's PorkFest was really good. Did you go to Eric Voorhees' party? I think he had like a a party that he spun at. Did you go? You're laughing, Damon. Well,
One of my big memories from that Pork Fest is I won a Bitcoin off of Eric Voorhees gambling.
no way.
Yeah.
I made up some goofy ass gambling game, and at the time Bitcoin was like $102, $103 a piece, and he was there. I was like, all right, we'll play this game. I'll bet a Bitcoin against you, and I won. So now I can, it's a good story. He
What
went
a
on to
guy.
start, I think he was still running Satoshi Dice then, and then he went on to obviously do the cryptocurrency exchange. I forget the name of it right now.
Shapeshift.
Yeah, Shapeshift. He wound up having to neuter that, I guess, because it was getting around money laundering laws or stuff like that. But it was great while it lasted, the Shapeshift. I'm not sure what he's up to now.
And right, for those that don't know, Shapeshift was a really interesting, and I guess it still is interesting, but it's not. I guess it's a little more like know your customer and whatnot now. But yeah, you could exchange basically any crypto for any crypto there.
You still can.
It was
completely, but it was
all
completely anonymous at that time. Like,
yeah, you didn't have to give your name. You go through that, you hit it with a VPN, so your IP address is hidden. And you would just, send Bitcoin to a certain address and tell it you wanted whatever other cryptocurrency to come back out of it. And
So it was like a crypto laundering service.
not exactly.
No.
It was more of an exchange.
It was just a way.
If you go to Monero and then back out of Monero or one of those privacy-centric ones, then I guess it is kind of a laundry.
So it wasn't like a Tumblr, like what they call
No,
a crypto Tumblr?
it was not designed to be that. It was just a way to get the coins you want. So
yeah,
say
it means you could accept any coin and end up with any coin.
Yeah, and you could even set permanent addresses. So it was really cool in the day when they were a little more free, because you could say accept 20 different coins and have them all convert into one into your wallet. So that was kind of nice.
Plus, there was some really exceptional design work that went into that, where it was designed to protect people's currency from hackers internally, right? He was very aware, of the possibility of, hacks or vulnerabilities. But my understanding was it was very careful to make sure that it was never like holding on to anybody's currency in a way that would create a vulnerability like at his end. And pretty smart. And I think he did have, I wish I could remember the exact details. I think there was like an internal theft where the stuff in the hot wallets was compromised. However, it never affected customers, right? Because he was able to minimize it and cover, his foresight had prevented it from becoming, like a Mount Gox or, I don't know. I wish I could remember more of the specific details. He should come on the show and tell us that story, because it's a freaking great one.
Yeah, that would be
idea.
awesome.
Why don't you get Eric Voorhees on this show there, Matt?
Yeah, man. Dude, I would not be opposed to that. Now, Derrick, one of the reasons that I had Damon on tonight is because like Damon has an idea of kind of like making his own little movie or like documentary.
All
like,
right.
Yeah, right. So now it sounds like you're kind of like are you saying it's not a good thing now, or?
Well, it depends. What's your idea?
Oh, well,
No, I was just joking around. I know he's not saying that's not a good thing, but yeah, tell me your idea, Damon.
well, I'm getting stir crazy with my getting stuck at home. I only get to see a handful of people, actually even less than that. So I've been as I've been stuck with this coronavirus. I'm in New York State, so we got pretty strict rules about you're not allowed to go out and leave.
Can I stop you there? Why are you in New York State?
I got a lot of reasons. None of them are that interesting for a podcast.
Why don't you leave?
What's that? Why don't
Gates are open.
Huh?
He said, well, why don't you leave?
I kind of have roots here, I got a lot of people. I run an arts collective here. I got a lot of stuff, people counting on me. So I don't know. Why don't I leave? I ask myself that sometimes. If I didn't have the Toad Meadow Arts Collective, I probably would. But anyhow,
So yeah, tell us about your documentary, man.
So I just got the idea. I was, the other day I was like, "Fuck it, gasoline's cheap as hell. I should go to Utah. Utah's beautiful. Just take a road trip to Utah." And it's because we're living in like a weird situation where just going on a road trip is sort of an act of civil disobedience. It'll get a lot of people all bent out of shape and get their panties in a twist, kind of like wearing a hat and cord or something. But um, to me, that's kind of fascinating, that idea, and also just to like set an example that yeah, you can still do these things. You don't have to live your life in fear. You could go drive to Utah. It's not going to hurt anyone. you know, Cops won't really necessarily leave you alone. I think Derrick, you could correct me if I'm wrong. You were kind of expecting to get martyred during your victimless crime spree, right?
No, I was expecting to just live my life. I was expecting that I could just do normal human behavior and not be molested for it. And I was very naive.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess. All right. Yeah, I'm not that naive, but I'm not trying to get arrested or anything. But I think it's kind of fun. It'd be fun to get stopped by some cops and talk your way out of the traffic stop and things.
No, no, it's not fun.
I would avoid
fun.
that.
I'm a little cocky. I've done it enough times at this point that it's like I guess I'm a little cocky, but every now and then it catches.
Listen, in this world that we live in, you're going to have enough police encounters without going looking for them.
Oh, I've had them,
So
yeah.
just be ready for when they arrive, and just live your life normally, and they'll appear, no doubt.
Serious question for you, Damon. Is it like an S&M thing, like where you get sort of a thrill out of these interactions?
Not really an S&M thing.
But you know what I mean? Where you're like, I'm in danger. It's risky. I'm poking the bear. Like something bad might happen.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that it's sort of thrilling, especially if I think I'm like a step ahead of them and can outsmart them or like not get popped for it. Yeah, sure. Getting away with stuff. Yeah, that's a little bit thrilling.
Well, do you have any videos on YouTube yet?
That I with the police and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I'm old. I'm an old man now. I haven't dealt with cops in a while at this point.
Are you afraid it might be worse than you remember?
Yeah, I got more to lose now too than when I was like 20 years old and didn't have any money or anything. You know what I mean? It's like, Dustin from them and stuff like that. Like that was.
What about family? Do you have family that you would be responsible for if you got locked up?
No, not really.
Because that's a big calculation. A lot of people, once they've got something to live for, they are like, well.
Plus, your artist collective might be a good support base that could rally support for you while you're in jail, which would be nice to have if you end up there. I'm not suggesting that, but if you did, a support base could be very important.
James, I don't think so. I think it's really taxing. Like, why put reserves to work on something unnecessary?
I said it's not. I'm not advising it, but if you ended up there, right, to have no support, right, versus having support, I think, would you say that would make a difference? Or would you rather just not be a burden to anybody, any of your friends, and just tough it out on your own?
I mean, obviously, I'd rather not be a burden. I don't honestly. What's the worst that can happen though? If I go to Utah, like, are they actually arresting people? How are these? These aren't even really laws, are they?
Well, it depends on what you're doing.
I'm just going to Utah. I want to go take some pictures, and
probably be fine.
Scenery,
But if you start camping on BLM land, you're going to have an encounter.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, how that encounter goes could vary from, you're okay, you're a full-time camper, you're fine to be here, no problem. Oh, where are you from? New York? Oh, is that a New York license plate? Hold on.
Yeah, I thought about that actually.
Right? Like, I don't know what kind of greeting you'll receive, but you will receive a greeting.
Actually, James Babb said he'll let you switch license plates with him.
If you could get a local, get some like a local rent a car locally or something, blend in. If you want to avoid encounters, that might help. I don't know.
Well, Damon, I can relate. I think we're all going a little stir crazy where we're at, no matter how free or not relatively we are during this quarantine. And I would strongly encourage you to find a productive outlet for your anxiety, rather than endangering yourself and then perhaps taxing others who need to help bail you out. It's a net negative.
Doesn't mean you can't do a road trip without inviting the badge class.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that would be totally safe. I think it would be extremely possible to go out and enjoy yourself like a normal human being without attracting a swarm of bees.
Just, you might get one occasionally here and there, right?
Yeah, and it's good to be prepared. Do you have a dash cam?
Not yet. No.
That would be a must-have.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
They're really good
Or
now.
at least at least a shoe cam, to get like some upskirt pics in the grocery store or something.
What?
That's just a joke. That's just...
I feel some compulsion to speak out against that. I think that's
No,
wrong.
I think it's wrong too. It was just a joke. It was just
Okay, I know, but I just
I don't
just
have a shoe
because
cam.
I'm present, I feel like I have to say I think that's not good.
I think
It's
we all
totally
acknowledge
not
that.
good. It's
Yeah.
totally not good. I've been drinking. I'm just making jokes.
All right, no shoe cams, Matt. Dash cams only.
Dash cam, definitely, and they're pretty inexpensive now. So
Yeah. And they're really good. You can get front, back. I recommend them for everyone. You're most likely to encounter police while you're on the road.
Yeah.
And for less than $100, you can get a camera that's as easy to install as putting 2 clips on your rearview mirror, and you're good to go. You plug it into your cigarette lighter, and you're protected. If it's no longer their word against yours. You have an objective record that you can present to anybody to really protect you.
even for just regular like traffic accidents and stuff, if somebody pulled out in front of you or somebody changed lanes on you on a highway, he said, she said,
Yeah.
a
That's
camera
some
is going
real
to help you out
empowerment.
a lot in those situations. I love those Russian videos where I guess there's a sport where you like walk up to a car and you jump on their hood and I guess they have to pay you. Like, have you seen
Right.
those videos of people
I
doing
have.
that?
Yeah.
They're
funny.
like, you hit me, but like the car was parked, right? But so everybody has a dash cam to protect themselves from this scam.
Good thing.
So,
Um,
Damon, are you still thinking about doing this, or have we talked you out of it?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about doing it. I suppose just
Do it.
going to Utah. Why not, man? Utah's beautiful.
It's
Gas-
gorgeous.
So, and you're looking to find somebody crazy enough to do this with you, correct?
Yeah, I have a couple leads from mutual friends, so we'll see. Just someone to share the driving with and stuff.
So, are you going to put this out there on the podcast as like an invite to see who's interested or not?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay. Well, okay.
do you have a girlfriend?
She's an essential employee, so she's got to stay here and do work.
What does she think about all this?
She thinks it's cool.
Hey,
She's pretty. What do you say? She's pretty anti-authoritarian too. That's why we get along, I think.
I'll bet it turns her on.
I think you
Yeah,
should take
it
her
does.
with you. I
Yeah.
think she should go with you.
Yeah. Might get a little lonely.
I don't know. Pick up hitchhikers and
Share a cell.
someone to share the cell with. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else is good? Space Disco is something cool. Spacedisco.com is something I'm involved with. The mission is we're going to space and we're bringing a disco
Naturally.
because it just has to be done. There's a lot of people working on the whole space visitation, space hotels, space travel thing.
The choreography
tourism.
alone is going to it's a whole new field that has to be developed. 0G dance moves. It's never even been conceived of before. So, good job.
Well, we go on test flights every once in a while, and Saturdays at 8, there's always a live stream that people can listen to. And the genre of music is really called space disco. So spacedisco.com, I'm always at these events, and they've been a lot of fun in the past. If you're into electronic house music, come tune in or just listen to one of the past recordings.
When should we,
spacedisco.com.
is the live?
Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's just an hour broadcast, some really hip music, live mix, and there's audio, video. And then once the quarantine is over, you can actually attend these things. So that's pretty cool. There's merch.
I wonder how much it costs to rent the Vomit Comet. Do you know that plane I'm talking about?
Yeah, $5,000 a person. There's one in Portsmouth, and they're doing flights starting next year. So,
which is for those that don't know, it's a parabolic flight that simulates 0G inside the cabin. So, great for training for 0G.
You said that's 5,000 a person.
Mm-hmm. And you get 3 runs at it. You get 3 dips. So they go up and then down. You get 0G feeling, and then they go up again, and then you get to try again, and then so 3 times.
Huh.
I say it's a pretty good deal. I mean,
how many people do you need though to make it, to get that $5,000 ticket price?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one, but I don't imagine it could be too many people because I think it's a pretty small plane.
It
probably
seems totally doable to me. Like I think this should be something I want to see.
Yeah. It's fun and doesn't hurt anybody.
Now, would Steven be in charge of the choreography as the one with professional dance background, or would this be a collaborative effort?
There's no one in charge of choreography. You move however the music moves you. In fact, I learned recently the importance, like psychologically, of dancing badly. So it's important. A lot of people, when they see dancing, their initial reaction is to get up against the wall and find any excuse they can make to not be on the dance floor and not embarrass themselves. But I want to encourage people to resist that urge and instead embrace dancing badly and just do it because it feels really good. And I think that there's something essential to our humanity that I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but it's healthy psychologically, emotionally, physically. I think it does good things for your body and your brain. And don't be afraid of looking like a fool, because for probably 100,000 years, humans have been dancing to drums and strings and horns. And
see, but that's why I joined the band, so I wouldn't have to dance. Like,
yeah, there's always an excuse, but resist that urge and go out and make a fool of yourself. And people are going to love it. They're going to be attracted to you.
Okay.
If people love a guy who's having a good time, and it doesn't matter if you're a bad dancer, it really doesn't.
I guess it's kind of like karaoke. It's like the ones that really win the crowd over, the ones that just put their heart into it. They might not be the best vocalists, but the ones that just go for the performance, no matter what, right? Like they definitely win the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, it's why we all remember that guy Ken or whatever from American Idol with the bad auditions.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but I never watched that. So there.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're running out of time here. We're going to take things over to the after hours. Derrick J, if you want to hang out and join us over there, we would love it if you're available.
Heck yes.
Fuck
More
yeah,
freedom.
dude. Now, Derrick J, what would you like to plug right now? Like before we leave, anything in particular?
Yeah, the most important thing for people to get from me right now is that you can increase freedom in your life today by downloading a free app called AnyPay. It lets you accept Bitcoin in a really simple, easy way.
Awesome. So AnyPay, and how about the Free State Project? Any interest in plugging that, or?
Sure. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Cool, because I'm thinking like you're still in like New Hampshire, so it seems to be working out pretty well for you, right?
Yeah, I don't. So the Free State Project has passed its maturity. We're beyond the Free State Project now, and
okay.
It has pretty much dissolved away as it was intended to do once it reached its goal. And now it's split into various different groups. So if you're a Politico and you want to influence policy at the state level, you can become a state rep. If you're more interested in advancing freedom through trade, like I am, you can connect with other people who are using Bitcoin. If you're into hardcore civ dis, you can move to Keen. There's all different flavors for every libertarian stripe. So yeah, freestateproject.org still exists. It's still a thing. You can move here and get plugged in with all the people who are living more free than you are wherever you're at.
Yeah, sounds great, man. Sounds great. We're going to take things over to the after hours. If you want to join, hit us up at patreon.com/punk rock libertarians. We also have t-shirts over at libertariancountry.com. If you type in the code PRL, you'll receive a 10% discount. If you spend more than $50 and use the code PRL2, you'll receive a 20% discount. This podcast is brought to you in part from Conversations About Freedom podcast, hosted by Moral Bob. Until next time, live free
Or die.